Hello and welcome back to dsf.my, and we're bringing you another one of those food guides in the handy dandy Peugeot 3008. This time we're heading down south, and I was actually born in Johor Bahru, so I have some recommendations as I do this specific trip from KL to Johor Bahru quite often, or at least I used to do it very often. And now I can give you my advice on where to stop, especially along the way here. I'm about to show you my first typical stop and what to do when you're in Johor Bahru itself. Now, the first thing is when you're driving halfway there, you might get a little bit hungry and think about stopping off at Air Kero Jejantas. Now, this bridge restaurant has a few interesting options, but to us, it's not really worth stopping here. What you want to do is you want to go right past this. Do not stop at all unless you really need a break, and just go to the next exit. The exit is called Tangkak, and this is the first exit after you cross the Johor border. And look, it's a fellow Peugeot 3008. And even though we know where we're going, it's always good to leave Waze on Apple CarPlay, so you get all these reminders for where the police are and where the speed traps are, and to remind you when to exit. And you want to take this exit and navigate to this place called Do 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 Restaurant, or maybe it's called Do Do Do. I'm really not sure. In any case, it's very hard to miss. You just take the exit, go past the toll booth, and turn left at the junction. The restaurant will be on your right. It's the first one right at the corner, and we've always found that this restaurant has ample parking, even though it always has a lot of customers eating. Once there, you should sample, of course, the beef noodle soup, don't tell my grandmother, or the clay pot chicken curry with rice. Both are extremely delicious and served hot. You can forget about your 40 ringgit brunches. This is the perfect way to start your day. And then you can continue on down to Johor Bahru, and you'll only have about an hour and a half of driving left. If you're lucky like we were, there was not a lot of traffic around. What I like to do is just set it on cruise control, and that just saves a lot of petrol and it saves a lot of headache, because going down to JB, there's about 2 or 3 speed traps that sometimes if you turn off Waze, you might forget about. For me, I sometimes mute Waze, so even though the warning comes out, you can miss it. We are actually in town to celebrate a very important birthday. So let me take this opportunity to show you where we got some pretty good cake and a very nice dinner later on at night. Now, both the bakery and the Italian restaurant that we went to are both located along the same road in Taman Plangi, which is just outside of JB Town Centre. The bakery is called Chilicious. It's been around for about 10 plus years. It's not the oldest bakery in Johor Bahru. Cakes here are a little bit pricey, but I feel they're worth it because they're really, really huge. There's a big variety of flavors, and the balance in terms of flavor is really good. As for the fancy dinner, well, further down the road you'll find Rosmarino. Now, this place, if you go on TripAdvisor, you'll see a mix of good and bad reviews for the place. But from our experience, the food is very well priced given how large the portions are. The only thing that stood out was the local vegetables used in my spring chicken, but other than that, it was very delicious. Okay, enough of Western meals. You want some authentic JB food, so I'll show you some authentic JB food. First, head on down to the iconic clock tower, which is under renovation yet again, and drive past the new football stadium, which is also under renovation. Keep driving until you reach the row of shop houses, ignoring any fast food you see along the way, and then you'll find a row of shop houses with probably the most authentic curry laksa there is. This corner shop has been operating for decades, and very little has changed. Even when I was growing up, it was impossible to park. Well, when you finally find a spot, you go up there and you make your order. They still serve the same delicious curry laksa, which goes great with some otak-otak and a glass of barley. Yes, a lot of you might be looking for Johor laksa, but trust me, this curry laksa has been a part of Johor for many years, and in my opinion, it tastes a lot better than your typical Johor laksa. I usually order mine without cockles, but if you like the flavor, please go right ahead. Now, if you're going through the center of town, there's some pretty iconic restaurants and cafes. The problem is JB Town Center is always under construction. There's always some festival going on. There's always just too many cars and not enough parking spaces. There's now a new open car park if you do want to park there and walk around the whole day. That's perfectly doable. But during the festive season, even the car park can get a little bit crowded. So if you don't mind the traffic and the parking situation, there's places like Huamui and Itru Cafe, which are solid, authentic, historical places in JB Town. But if you just want a place where you can easily park and have some tea or coffee or cakes, then just head out of town for 10 minutes to this place called Keystone Cafe. And I usually come here to meet some old friends over coffee, and it turns out they started to sell some homemade cakes as well. Definitely worth it given how easy it is to park and how nice and clean the entire cafe is. So that's my quick food guide for Johor Bahru with the Peugeot 3008. Do you have any other places that you would recommend? Leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.